We got everything going. I am so glad we're doing this and we're talking about what we're talking about. I think meditation is the most important tool that we can offer people ever.
Right.
And I think it leads to everything. But I do see a hesitation sometimes with people where that's concerned. Do you?
Yeah, I feel like because it's a growth vehicle,
Mhm.
it makes people nervous. And there's also a sense of, I don't have time to do this because there's too much other stuff going on. And they don't understand that it's going to actually free up their time. You know, when you take a moment and pause, it actually creates more time and more space in your schedule. And people are so harried and overwhelmed right now that
Yes.
I don't think they are able to hold the space for that information in their heads.
Absolutely. I think that there's a disconnect about the idea of slowing down in order to go faster. And what I'm hoping that we'll be able to have the chance to make a little clearer is that what we're saying is not go slower, but go inward. That, I think, is the difference. When you go inward, then you have the opportunity to go outward from that position with so much more power, much more focus. Everything is better.
Sure.
And then you're able to move forward with maybe more efficiency. Is that a good word?
Yeah, I think so. I'm an efficiency nut anyways. Most of my spiritual practice is centered around efficiency. So I see the going inward as being part of the shift that's happening in how we relate to the divine and the universe. You know, it's that ensoulment of looking for the divine within, as opposed to the divine needing to be separate from us.
Yes.
And there's a big shift, I feel, going on with that right now anyway. And so where we're going to find our strength and our power, as common sense as this feels to me, is by going inward as opposed to looking for it outside of ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because that inside-outside part, what I've noticed, and I sometimes share this with my students, is that when you go outside of yourself, there's usually a feeling or a sense that's kind of like anxiety around that. It might seem like the right thing to do, but there seems to be a feeling of pressure around it. We're going inward. It's almost like the first feeling when you let yourself start the process is calm. It's ease. So to know the difference in the approach only takes a moment of checking your body.
Well, and when people go outside of themselves to look for the power and to look for the divine, the serenity or whatever, there's a disconnect, obviously, because they're going outside of themselves.
Right.
And it's much easier for their mind, you know, that monkey mind part, you know, to go, am I doing this right? Whereas that question comes up much less frequently when we go inward.
Yes. Yes.
They don't second guess themselves.
I'm glad you said that about the monkey mind, because I think that's a really important part, and I think it's probably the question I get asked most. Like, how do I settle my mind down for meditation?
How do you help them do it?
I try to give them something that feels active enough as a suggestion, so that it gives them a point of focus and allows them. I never make people feel guilty about the monkey mind.
It's there. It's a thing.
It is. This is the thing. These are the many things that you work with within meditation. So for me, I try to tell them that when you find yourself going outside of the meditation, don't berate yourself. Take a deep breath and give yourself permission to think about that thought after the meditation. It's just a simple moment, and you can even attach a movement to it. What I tend to ask them to do is to take their hands and wipe their foreheads, and have the image of the idea being placed right next to them. That way, they have a sense of not losing it, but having full permission
Right.
to let it go.
That's neat. I like that one.
Yeah. What do you do?
Well, just in terms of the movement.
Oh, one of the
thing,
things you
yeah,
do.
Yeah. It's quite similar to something that I do for myself when I'm in that like racing thoughts spin process. Is I acknowledge that it sits in the third chakra because that's where I picture things sitting, because that's the lower mental process. And it's always on the left side because that's where it sits. And I just literally, I give it an image. And to me, it usually looks like kind of the brown fuzzy stuff at the bottom of the drain.
Got it. Yeah, I know that stuff.
And I pull it out and I just hold it over here so it can keep yammering and I can do whatever it is I need to do without being bothered by it. So that's a similar thing there.
Yeah,
I
I
love
like that.
What I've been doing lately for people, you know, for the quieting the mind thing is I'm going, your mind's not always going to be quiet.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes.
And that's okay. Setting the expectation of your head doesn't have to get quiet for you to do this right.
That's right.
And so what I have them do instead is just simply focus somewhere else. Focus into the body. What does your chemical reaction from that thought feel like in your body? Go into the physical sensations of it and go, okay, where's it sitting? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it tight? Is it loose? Like literally the physical description of it, and then just return to the breath.
Awesome.
It's a redirect.
Yes. Yes. And giving them permission to return to the breath or the thought that was moving them. Have you noticed a difference? Because I know that you do quite a few different types of meditation. We both do. That's what keeps us versatile and having a really great time in the meditation classes at the Crystal Matrix.
Sure.
I'm curious about guided meditations versus let's say like the sound meditation where you're not verbally guiding, but you're guiding on a different level. Is there something you do differently? Approach it? Do you want to speak about that at all?
Well, so I do two different types of sound meditation. Let's start there.
That's right. That's right.
So what I do for my public sound baths is, it's just the music is giving them a vehicle for whatever their personal journey is going to be on the meditation. And then the therapeutic sound bowls that I do, I am actually coaching them through it, but it's not a journey. It's simply out of the head into the body, out of the head into the body.
Right.
So, and with what I think of as specifically guided meditations.
Right.
The point of a guided meditation, or the help of a guided meditation, is simply to get your conscious brain to focus on something while the rest of you is meditating. And you may get information in because everything does tend to chill out a little bit, but really it's like crocheting. you can be in the moment more easily because it's occupying that part of the head.
Yes, I get you. What I like about the guided meditation is that it actually, there's two things I like about it. One is that if the folks have a really strong inner vision life, then they can easily move into other dimensions from the guided meditation. They can have a wider experience that goes beyond anything that I'm saying. I have taken them back out of it and asked them how it was, and they're like, well, I didn't really follow you fully. I went that way in the other door, and I'm like, great, what was there? What'd you see? You know, they're happy to hear that they have permission to have the journey. Yes, we're creating a guided meditation for a purpose and an experience, but we're never going to go over what spirit wants for you.
Yeah.
So have your journey, and either way, we end up in the same place.
Sure.
So it's all good. The other thing that I have been noticing with the sound is that I've been offering them an opportunity to connect with their higher power, their higher selves, or their guidances during a sound sequence. It seems as if when you're dealing with frequencies, the other dimensions and the beings on it are more likely to be of assistance. Is that what you are finding too?
It opens doorways. I suspect that those doorways are within us. And the sound simply allows parts of us that tend to be blocks to get out of the way.
Yes.
But yeah, I do find that a lot of, I don't know what quite the word is. I know there needs to be an extra in there, but a lot of stuff that's more than here
Yes.
comes through
Yes.
during sound stuff for people. And it may come through as color, it may come through as, what can be identified easily as information. It can come through as contact. But yeah, I think sound helps us get those blocks out of the way.
I think so too. I think they help to get the blocks out of the way, and I also think that they help the person, the meditator, to not only get out of the way, but to release judgment also around where they're going and what they're experiencing. The frequency stuff goes beyond the teacher and the student.
Oh, sure.
And hits directly in where it is you need help the most. So when we do our meditation classes at Crystal Matrix, in particular, the one that we share, which is one of the reasons why we're doing this, we wanted you to meet us both and know, and know that we work together on this stuff and we support one another for your journey on those Sundays, the fourth Sunday of every month.
Mostly.
We get together.
3-day weekends shift that.
Exactly. Call to be sure. But mostly the fourth Sunday. And we want you to come with an openness to allow yourselves to have whatever experience you're going to have. Because the meditation is the gateway. For instance, I don't know what you remember as your first meditation experience, like authentic experience, but I was thinking about that this morning before we got together, and it came to me that one of my first experiences was early 80s with a group of people, none of which I knew, and I had not explored any of my intuitive talents. But after 2 years of studying with this man, amazing, I still give credit and credence to Sean Michael Kelly for his work with me on that. He moved me from simple meditator to healer through meditation.
Sure.
I believe that it is, and that's why I believe that it is the gateway. Do you remember? Or the first one that you remember, maybe might be better.
Well, my mother is an interesting woman, and she had me doing specific guided journey work kind of stuff when I was fairly little. When I would get sick, she would have me go in and work with my white blood cells and stuff like that. And I used to have a simple sort of self-hypnosis technique to fall asleep with the counting back and the seeing the numbers. So I'm not entirely sure when I started with this. In what I think of as current time, when I started working with spiritual teachers and stuff like that. I think I probably first experienced it on the healer table as a client, because that was the easiest way for me to get out of the way, and to allow the process was to be taken on a journey so that I wouldn't be trying to see what's going on and figuring it out, getting in the way.
Had to get you into the theta brain.
Right, exactly. And then intentional meditation, I think I'll call it.
Yes.
Probably started when I started channeling, when I started learning how to channel, because there's such a strong meditative aspect to that.
Yes.
And being able to find ways to set the negative ego, the monkey mind, the chatter, the committee, whatever you want to call it, being able to set that aside for a moment, so that I could be a clear channel without the judgment which comes from that entire ball of wax there. So I suspect it was then, which would have been sometime in the 90s.
Awesome. Yeah, it's you remember the profound moments in meditation, and that's another thing that's really awesome. I can remember things that have happened in my meditations with such clarity better than I can remember things that have happened here.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
usually,
remember.
yeah, it's easier for me to remember like meditative stuff than it is for me to remember what I had for breakfast. So.
Exactly. And don't you think that's a benefit of continuing the practice?
Sure, and I find that, especially with a lot of my students, when they start meditating, they retain all information better because there's not as much, again, muck is the best way I have
Agreed.
to describe it, clogging up the memory banks.
Yes.
And I found, especially with like Kabbalistic meditation, it gives me a sorting technique or a sorting mechanism so that I can be more efficient and effective, and so that I retain information that is actually important better. It helps sort.
Yes.
Important information, don't need that right now information, and I found that for a lot of my students as well.
Awesome. Have you ever had to help someone while in meditation that you were teaching?
As
Like
how?
Here's an interesting thing that I've noticed.
Okay.
After meditation, people can be very wonky in their bodies.
Yeah.
And I have different things that I've offered and suggested. Do you have something that you find?
Sure. I always finish a meditation with some sort of processing where people are talking about their experience.
Yes.
Partly,
and that helps.
Partly so that they can hear the spectrum of experience, so that it shuts up that monkey mind of did I do it wrong.
Right. Exactly.
And partly so that I can make sure they're back in their bodies. And I frequently will finish a meditation with some sort of a grounding process. I find that helps, and if they're, they may be in their bodies, but they're still unconsciously processing.
Yes.
If they are grounded, I think that goes more smoothly for them, more effectively for them, because I think everything goes more smoothly and more effectively when you're actually in your body.
Yes. Absolutely.
And honestly, I frequently start the meditation from a place of groundedness as well, because then you have a place to push off from if you're going somewhere.
Yes. I create something in the visualization, when it's a visualization, a guided meditation in that way. I create a moment at the beginning and a moment at the end that sort of make the circle complete, and that ends up being that grounding spot, plus water.
Yes, I'm a big fan of people drinking water.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just like that we make it safe.
Yeah.
I think it's important that that meditators and students of meditation feel safe through the entire process, and have what's the word I want to use? Self-empowerment.
Yes.
In how to make themselves feel safe too. Because we don't want to come off like we have to be there.
No, totally
We
not.
have to be a part of it all.
No. I in fact, my intention with meditation classes in general is to go, here is a tool that you can take home and use for yourself in your personal practice.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to be between them and their experience. I want to facilitate their experience initially so that they get comfortable with it and familiar with it, and then they can take it and run with it.
Exactly. I call it facilitation, then step back.
Yeah, totally.
That's what it is. Because if we really do believe that we're all one, then all of our students have the power to become teachers also.
Yes, totally.
And so they have in them the mechanisms to do all that. We're just helping them remember. That's what it feels like,
Sure.
that we're all just helping one another to remember the processes and the strengths and the talents that you have, and meditation is one of those ways.
Yes.
So with that note, it kind of sounds like a circle right there a little bit, doesn't it?
I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me.
Thank you very much. And bless you all for coming and being a part of this.
And we hope to see you soon.
Yes, come and meditate with us. Come and take a journey. Bye-bye.